I'm recording there.
I'm recording everywhere.
Record right here. Favorite New Year's Eve snack? Go.
Ooh. I don't know. I don't really have a New Year's Eve snack.
Barbecue weenies.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like the only time you ever really eat them.
Yeah, I don't really do like a big like New Year's Eve dinner. I'll do like dinner. I do like corned beef and cabbage on New Year's Day, but
my mom's dad used to have us over every New Year's Eve, and they would just play cards and stuff. But they'd, everybody bring over like a little like smoked weenies or something like that, like meatballs on a stick. Always one of my favorite times of year because you get all the family together in a non like holiday kind of thing, and so everybody gets to relax and hang out and play cards and we've never really done anything like crazy or anything really for New Year's, and so like it was never really like a major holiday. So I feel like I'm gonna struggle bus with this. Yeah, well, these are resolutions, so these are the things you want to improve on, or like you could do cliche things too and just comment on them. I think I was gonna try to pick out some where it's like, "Huh, can you believe people try this?" But I actually found somewhere I'm like, I need to do that. You know what I want to make sure we do more of, though?
What's that?
Cold opens!
This one's going to be hard because we don't really record. We haven't really recorded back-to-back for a while. So this is now cold open number 2. Question is do we have enough left in the tank to make another gold open?
My little baby bird, we haven't podcasted in like 2 weeks. I've got enough to fill you up, buddy.
Whoa.
Like I said, I premature podulated. I'm ready for round 2.
Always make it weird.
Honey's doing it again.
Oh, God. I see it.
Just tell him no, sweetie.
Why'd he hit record and then do it? It's like he wants to save it for posterity.
I want to re-listen to it every day. I just potted in my pants. I don't think you can do that.
Well, I was jerking off when I did it, so that helped.
Richard, have you told him it's ejaculation? That's like, I mean, it's not normal to do it in this way, but...
Look, Ma, no hands. Oh, shit. All right. Like I said, I feel like I might struggle bus with this one. And you know what? And I think that part of it is because it's hard for me to come up with. It's hard for me to not like say like cliche things, but at the same. Okay, here's the duality I have. Okay. Because part of me doesn't want to make resolutions because I don't want to break them, because then I'll just feel bad about myself. But then part of me doesn't make resolutions because I don't feel like I need to.
I don't know if you know this, Shawn, but I'm basically perfect.
Because I don't know, Shawn, I mean, maybe you had a different home life. But my mom told me I'm perfect just the way I am.
My wife's taking a little time to come around to that, but whenever she gets a little nitpicky, I say, hey, call my mommy, because she says I'm perfect.
Call my mom. And she said, I did. And then I said, what'd she say? And she's like, well, what do you think I'm saying to you right now? And I'm like, oh. What does she know?
Talk to my mom.
She's a crazy old woman. Let's make some show.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the nerdiest competition ever created by the Language of Bromance team. In this corner, obsessed with Star Wars and anything with swords, Richard! And in this corner, obsessed with the Ninja Turtles and scared of anything from the ocean, Shawn!
in association with the LOB Army. Tonight's competition is a Language of Bromance Draft.
What's up, everybody? My name is Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. Today's Shawn's day, self-reflection. A day
Yes, it is.
Take your personal inventory and you find out what it is with yourself that doesn't bring you joy. And you throw it out.
Yeah. It's flipping over the calendar. It's a brand new year, Richard. New Year's 2022, baby. We've made it. We're in the future.
Whew. It's
you believe
future so
shit,
bright.
Hold on.
I need shades.
Oh shit. I mean, it's been a while, but I've been in the 20th century or the 21st century, right?
Or
is it 20th century?
21st.
21st century. I've been in the 21st century longer than I was in the 20th century. Wait, no, this is the 20th century, isn't it?
No. Well, no, it's 21st century.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you're counting it or how you're looking at it.
Yes.
We'll say it's the 21st.
I have not hit that milestone because I was there. I was in the other one for. Oh, God, no. Actually, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I've been in this one 22 years. Yeah. You know what's really creepy is when people say, like, if they made Fast Times at Ridgemont High right now, it would take place in, like, 2001.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, kids talk about the 2000s like we talked about the 70s, Richard.
I already graduated. God damn it.
Yeah, we're old. Yeah, I don't like it. But it's not about that, Richard, because we're cool cats. What we're gonna do today is
That's terrible.
So these are so we're gonna put together some New Year's resolutions. So these can be ones that you're actually wanting to do, or maybe just ones you think like are cliche. I was kind of gonna do this more as a goof, and then as I went through some of them, I'm like, man, I really need to do that. Man, I really need to do that. So there's a lot of stuff I need to do for 2022.
I think mine are mostly going to be cliche. This is a hard one because you know what? Because I must honestly say that I have never really made. I've never made a New Year's resolution for myself. Like I've never said at 11:50 on 11:59 on New Year's Eve, I have never said to myself, okay, like 2022, you're gonna do this. You're gonna be this kind of person. You're gonna do this more. You're gonna do this less. You're gonna, be all you can be. I've never done that.
Yeah, I always, because it's one of those things that like I've never been the kind of person that wants to do I'll start that on Monday. Because just like working out, like, the best time to start working out, Richard, the most common time to start working out?
No, please tell me.
Tomorrow. Everybody says, I'm going to start working out tomorrow.
Motherfucker, I want to end this show right now.
That's what everybody does.
Oh.
Because when I really started getting into working out, it was like, well, I'll just start the first of the year.
Call right now.
It was like December 8th. It's like, no, I'm going to work out. I'm going to start today. And I was lifting weights. But Richard, what this is, it's a draft, our 63rd draft, a New Year's Eve, our New Year's resolution draft, our first podcast of 2022. And if you don't know, and you should, what our drafts are 7 rounds, NFL style, where we flip-flop picks back and forth. When we did this back in the day, we flipped a penny to see who goes first, and I won. So odd drafts, I get the first pick. Even drafts, Richard, you get the first pick. And since this is an odd draft, I get the first pick. So do you have anything you'd like to say before we jump into this?
So I guess I just want to say that like my list is not going to be things that I necessarily do and or like or want to do. I think it's just going to be like a hodgepodge of things that sound good on top of things that like kind of seem cliche to me.
Yeah. My goal actually, I think as I come around to this,
what is your resolution on your list of resolutions?
Yeah, so this is what I'm going to keep in my queue and listen to about every 2 months to kind of make sure I keep up on this. But my first one, Richard, this is something that I wanted to stop doing when I turned 30. And I'm now 35 and have failed at this.
Real? Okay.
So my first round pick, I want to stop drinking soda and energy drinks.
You know what? We've talked about this before. I know we've talked about this before because I told you that there was a period of like 7-8 months where I stopped drinking soda entirely, and I didn't feel any better, but I didn't feel any worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing. Like it felt like nothing changed. Like I didn't lose weight. I didn't gain weight. I didn't have less energy. I didn't have more energy. Like it just nothing changed for me. However, I will say that I do feel like now, because I think that when I did that was years ago. Now, I think that it might be a different story if I did that.
Yeah, when I was really getting into working out, I stopped drinking soda for probably like 6 or 7 months, and I really like lost some weight and got like I felt good.
Okay.
And then just happened to drink a soda, and then it was like, well, I'm working out all this much, so it's not a big deal to drink one soda. That one turned into two turned into 3.
Now, you're a Mountain Dew drinker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been switching between that and Pepsi.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mountain Dew I drink quite a bit of.
So
drink a lot of
Dew, I used to drink a lot of Mountain Dew, and I stopped, and I can't now. Like if I think like what was it? It was probably like 6 months ago. I was like, okay, well, like I'll try to drink a Mountain Dew. I couldn't even finish it. Like I took like one swig and I was like, oh, this is no.
It's literally like a drug, because when I quit drinking like Mountain Dew for like a couple months, the first one I drank, I was like, oh, and like you kind of power through it like it was just a can.
Yeah.
But then the next day I got another one. It was like, oh, but not as bad. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, give me that 2 liter.
I can't do it. I can't do it now.
Yeah. I bet if you try, like, if you had one or, oh God, the Mountain Dew God's trying to kill me. No, like if you drink, like powered through one, the next one's going to be like not as bad. Cause like, I think it's like that with any soda. If I stop for a few days, like I'm good. Like it's the first 3 to 4 days. And then like that next soda I drink, it's like, well, why do I do this? But I finish it. Cause I don't like to waste stuff. And then the next day you're like, man, I had that soda yesterday and that sounds kind of good right now. And so then I do another one and another one.
At this point, I don't know if it's the sugar or the caffeine that I'm like, that I crave. I feel like it's more the caffeine than the sugar. Cause like, okay, so my usual like quote unquote soda schedule is I'll drink probably like maybe 2 a day, like 1 around lunchtime and 1 like in the late afternoon. And but like I do, that's on days that I work. Now, however, on the weekends, since I'm home, I don't drink 1 at all. And I will notice that like by the time like 1 o'clock rolls around, I'll have a headache. I'll have kind of like one of those like caffeine kind of headaches where it's like in the front of your head.
Yeah, I think it's like a 3 or 4 day thing to get that out, because that actually, like, the caffeine blocks your like receptors that make you tired, and so it really just kind of prolongs your tiredness. And I've been kind of bouncing between, like, there's this energy drink called Bang. I use it for like pre-workout.
See, that's the other thing. I've never had an energy drink in my life.
Yeah. Sugar-free Red Bull, I drink a ton.
Never
of those.
had one.
Not a ton, like 1 a day, 1 every other day kind of thing. But Bang. So like my caffeine regimen is I drink, one of those old school thermoses, like the old dudes used to have. Yeah. I've got one of those about 2/3 full, so I drink that, usually 5 days a week. Then usually I'll have a type of Red Bull, Bang, or some kind of energy drink or a soda. And then when I get home, I do some kind of pre-workout. So
now,
I probably
when I was
have
in my 20s, I would have an energy drink, but it would have booze in it. Like I go out and
your VCR.
Yeah, vodka, cranberry, and Red Bull. Like that was kind of like that was my go-to drink when I was like in my late 20s. But that's the only time. That's the only type of energy drink. That's the only time I've ever had an energy drink. Like I've never just drank a Red Bull or drank a Bang or or what's the other one? Monster? Is Monster the other one?
Monster's a big one, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I do try to drink
I've never just had an energy drink.
Yeah. I do try to drink a gallon of water a day, and I do get that pretty much knocked out each day.
Okay.
But yeah, trying to get that knocked down. I mean, for a couple reasons. I mean, health wise, like that stuff's not healthy for you. 2, like it's not good for your teeth, obviously.
All right.
And just trying to get more into drinking more water. And, I think if I could get that eliminated and just stick to like coffee, I'd probably be in what I feel like is a more healthier state.
My sister could down like 64 ounces of Red Bull in a work day.
Oof.
It's too much. Like by the time like early evening rolled around, like she'd be like, I'm like, you're gonna have a fucking heart attack, child.
Yeah. Well, and like I think when I was younger, I didn't really think much of it, but as I've gotten older, like that stuff's super bad for your teeth.
Yes.
Because of all the acidity and stuff in it.
Yes.
Soda's the same way.
Yeah.
And I've kind of really started noticing like maybe I need to like figure that out a little bit. But yeah, my first one are going to be stop drinking soda and energy drinks.
Because I didn't know this. My wife actually is the one that informed me of this, that your dental health is linked to your heart health.
I've heard that there's like ties to cancer too, in terms of like the bacteria and stuff in your teeth. Yep. Or in your mouth.
So it's one of the things that I feel like a lot of people ignore, which I mean, like I get why people, like not a lot of people like follow up on things with, their teeth and stuff like that. Like that shit's fucking expensive. Like getting, your teeth worked on. I mean, like it's expensive, especially, if you don't have dental insurance, like you're just like, well, it's like they're in there and they like I touch them and they feel okay. Like they don't feel soft. So it's fine. It's fine. I'll just power through. It's fine. But like the link to other problems down the road.
Yep. Well, and it's one of those things, like a lot of the stuff, like if you have like a cavity or something, you won't really know it until it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you start feeling pain, that's because it's reached the nerves
instead
of a spot where somebody could actually fix it. But
I mean, I've had like 4 teeth pulled. I haven't back.
Yeah, I haven't been to the dentist in like 6 years. So, and it's one of those things like each year, it's like, well, I don't really want to go back now because like, what's going to be the problem?
Right? Because at this point, you're like, oh, God, I'm going to go. And then he's going to be like, well, we need to work on fixing this and this and this. And that'll be $5,000. And you're like,
opens
fuck.
my mouth. He's like, oh, God. Like what? Like, we're just going to pull
because it feels optional.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it does.
And it's, I guess it ends up being not so optional. Less soda.
Yeah, that's my first pick. Drinking some less soda and less energy drinks.
All right. Well, Shawn, for my first one, I saw this and I was like, this is something I feel like this is a resolution that anybody should make at any given point, throughout the year. I mean, I guess if you want to do it on New Year's, that's fine. But Shawn, for my first pick, I'm going to go with saving and spending less and saving more. Gotta save that cashola, man. Gotta get on that budget. It's something
budgeting.
That like budgeting is always like it's always such because there's so there's like the problem that I always have when it comes to budgeting is there's always so many, especially like, you know, like I have 3 kids and like shit comes up, you know, like, oh, you gotta, you know, do this real fast. Oh, you gotta do this real fast. You know, like a lot of very small, like incidental things come up. Or like one day you get home from work and you're fucking tired and you're like, I really don't want to make dinner tonight. Like, let's just, you know, fucking order a pizza or let's go get tacos or whatever, you know, and like, it makes you angry that you get to like the end of the month and there's nothing there, or you get to the last week of the month and then you're like, fuck, like how am I going to cover this on the like this all the I got this and this coming up on the first, like how the fuck am I going to, so like it's always either 2 things, either A, you're scrambling the last week to try and, you know, make sure everything, the things that need to get paid, or you know, you get those things paid and then you're like, hey, like there's, you know, $20 left.
Yeah. It always feels like whenever we sit down to budget, like it's like, all right, we got a clean slate. Now let's budget and let's get everything. This is all we're going to spend. And it never fails like that first week. It's like something pops up where it's like, oh, well, this thing we're needing, we got to get it now. And it's like, well, what are we going to take that budget from? Let's take it from our eating out fund. And then 2 weeks later, you forget about that and you go out and eat and you're like, oh shit, wait, we just spent, you know, $80 at this restaurant. Because you can't eat at a restaurant cheap anymore.
Shawn,
especially like with you and 5 kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With me,
3 kids and you guys.
Yeah, with the 5 of us, like if I go out to eat, like I am spending at least $60 to $70. Like $60.
Yeah, I mean you're looking
cheap.
$12 a person.
Yeah.
And that's something fairly cheap too. Yeah.
And I'm, you know, I'm not a fan of fast food. So it's rarely a drive-through. It's usually like carry out from somewhere.
Well, shoot, even a drive-through. I mean, you're still spending $8, $9, $10 a person. So that's where it's we might as well go order someplace that's a little bit nicer.
Yeah, even ordering pizza from like fucking Domino's is like $50, $60. Once you throw on like tip and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, let's get 2 pizzas. And somebody's like, can we get cheese sticks? Like, yeah, let's get some cheese sticks. What about some soda? Yeah, we'll get some soda. Oh, we need some cinnamon sticks too. Okay, let's add cinnamon sticks. $78.
Yep. Happens every time. I will say that between over the course of the last, I want to say 2 months, probably 3 months, we have been doing really well with the food budget. Like I have managed, especially with, oh my God, Shawn, especially with winter, like now that it's like cold, soup.
Oh, more hearty
stuff is so the way to go.
Yeah.
I can make a giant batch of soup and it'll last for like a day, 2 days. Like you take it to lunch at work the next day. Like I can make a giant batch of soup and I've spent like less than $3 a person for, you know, 2-3 meals.
Yeah, my thing's all, if we can like get it made and portioned, then like I'm good. But like it's the days you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I forgot to put my lunch together. Yep. You know, it's like, well, I've got protein at work. I'll just drink some protein. But then lunch comes around, you're starving. You're like, oh, it's been a rough day. You're like, I'm just going to drive up here. Yeah, $15-$20 later, you got a crap. I mean, it's not necessarily crappy, but a non-healthy meal.
Yep.
And then you feel horrible.
So I would say for anybody that is feeling like their food budget is going to shit, like make giant batches of soup. Like, are you gonna want to eat, you know, fucking like split pea soup like 5 days in a row? No, of course you're not. But I'll tell you what, if there's a morning that you're like, you wake up late and you're like, oh fuck, I gotta get, you know, like you're rushing in the shower and then, you know, you're rushing out, you're getting ready to rush out the door to work. You're like, fuck, I don't have anything for lunch. Like, just grab some of that fucking soup and you're good to go.
Oh, dude, portioning that stuff out. Yeah. Like, we've been getting chicken from some like Mennonites, or maybe they're Amish. I can't remember, but basically like, you know, farm raised chickens. Like it's cheap compared to like the grocery store.
Yes.
But yeah, you bust out like, 2 packages,
Dude,
which is like 4 big breasts.
Chicken went fucking through the roof, it seems. I was at the grocery store. This is no joke. I was at the grocery store and I bought a whole chicken and it was like $13-14. And this is for like a 6-pound chicken, right?
Yeah.
Now I found, same grocery store, I found a whole duck. Like a whole duck that was comparable in weight.
What was it doing running around the grocery store?
It wasn't live. It was frozen.
Oh, okay.
But
did you get it a jacket?
It was not in a jacket. But I found this duck and it was like $17. Now, like the price, like I used to buy these whole chickens for like $6, like half that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seemed like the price of chicken doubled over the course of, I don't know, the last like 6 months.
Yeah, stuff's been going up.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've been like, you go and maybe this is why I'm going to stop drinking sodas because I can't find any. My gas station's like they're like a quarter full. All Red Bull. They have a ton of Red Bull for some reason. Everything else, not
nobody
so much.
buys it, Shawn, because it's fucking poison.
But yeah, I think that's something that like, no matter what, like you should always be kind of looking at those finances. But yeah, sometimes it feels like a never-ending battle that you can never win.
If there's something you can invest in, or if there's something you want to invest in, like when I was talking about soup earlier, if something you want to invest in, one thing that I got that's really kind of doing a lot of the work is I got this immersion blender. Amanda got an immersion blender that I've been using. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a stick mixer. Okay, so what it is it's basically like a hand mixer, but it's you hold it and it's got like you on and off buttons on it, and you just stick it in, and then like it's got blades on the bottom, right? But that's what it's called. It's called an immersion blender, or a stick mixer is the other term for it. But okay, so what you do is like get a vegetable, any vegetable, just get a lot of it. Let's say broccoli. Let's say you want to make broccoli soup, right? So you get a pot, put some water in it, salt your water, put 80 gajillion pounds of broccoli in it, right? Let it cook for a couple minutes, drain the water out, but save it. Then put the broccoli in the pot, stick your mixer in there, and then just add a little bit of water and mix it around. Add a little bit of water, mix it around. Add a little bit of water, mix it around. And then boom, you got fucking broccoli soup.
Oh, nice. Throw a little cheese in there. You got broccoli cheese soup.
You could throw some cheese in. You can throw cream in there. I made pea soup the other day. I threw ham and bacon in there and some cream. Yeah. It looked fucking gorgeous. And it cost me less than $20. And I made enough fucking pea soup to feed like 10 people.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of good soup. Like I usually will make like a big bowl of chili. And yeah, I could take that for like 3 or 4 days in a row.
Yep. Oh, chili. Good stuff. Chili. I just made beef stew this past weekend. Made a big batch of beef stew. Brought it to lunch for me. I needed something for lunch today. So beef stew it was. Delicious.
Nice.
So yes, soups, stews, like they're super cheap and save so much money. When it comes to budgeting, fuck if I know. What do I know? I don't know shit, Shawn. I'm poor. We're all poor, but
I feel like it's one of those things like you never know if you did it right until like the end of your life. You're like, oh well, because every old person I've ever talked to is like, I should have done these 10 things, and it's like, yeah, but what if you did them and this happened? And then they go to sleep. I think I don't remember.
And then they lay down and die. I don't know. I don't pay attention. Fuck them. They're old.
Yeah. But that leads really well into my second resolution, Richard. So for my second resolution, I want to work on being more present with people.
Okay,
so,
when you say people, are you talking about family or are you talking about friends?
Family and friends, both. So one of the things that
I have no problem, and I completely agree with this statement.
What'd you say?
I said that I have no problem, and I completely agree with your statement.
What? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
You son of a bitch.
No, it's one of those things that I've tried to do a little bit better job with it, like taking some of the social media stuff off my phone and trying to keep my phone usage more to a minimum, because I feel like the phone is the thing that really detaches you from like people that are in your area. So like holidays and stuff like that, like, yeah. And yes. I wanted to make this more than just, I want to be off social media more. This is more like whenever I'm around family, friends, I want to try to interact with them more. Like a perfect example of like friends, like game day. We get down there, we're playing. If there's a lull, what happens? People are on the phone.
Immediately I pick my phone up.
Yep. But on their computer.
You know, when it comes to like family and friends, like I guess if I really think about it, when it comes to like social media, it's almost I think for some people it feels like if you're scrolling through, I don't know, let's say like Instagram, and you see pictures that like a friend of yours has posted, like you see it and you like it and you comment on it or whatever. It's basically like, it's almost like you have tertiarily interacted with that friend. And so you're like, okay, like I stay in touch with friends, but that's not really staying in touch. No. You know what I mean? Like call them, text them, hang out with them. It's like liking a photo and commenting on something does not an interaction make.
No. And like, I mean, anything I post, like very rarely do I look to see who's liked it. So even if you've liked something of mine, like, yeah, you've had that interaction with me, but I may not have realized it.
Exactly.
But it's just something that, you know, there's times that, and I guess it kind of adds into like wanting to do more value added activities. So, you know, like if it's us in the house, and one thing I'd say that kind of has pushed me into this is, you know, like my son's been asking for a phone, and I kind of wonder if that's because he's seen us on ours so much. And it's not like we're on ours a ton.
Sure.
But it's enough that he's like, well, what is this thing that takes, you know, mom and dad's attention away from what's going on with me or the house? And also with us moving to where we are now too, like there's more stuff to do outside of the home. So I kind of want to, you know, interact with those type of activities. And just kind of, you know, I think it's a lot of me getting older too, realizing that, you know, time is a very valuable thing. So making sure the moments I have, I, you know, utilize them to the fullest potential.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, you know, like you may have like, let's say you like a photo and comment on a photo of mine. Like you may have got an interaction and felt like that feeling from it, you know, like, oh, I've interacted. Like I have quote, like it almost like fills the gap of like, oh, I should hang out with people more. I should be more social, but that's not being social. That's you you're by yourself. Like, yes, we are, you know, like we're social creatures, as much as it pains me to say that, because I personally, and this kind of leads into like my next pick was going to be, like you said, like getting, you know, not getting off of, but limiting my social media time, which I feel like I've been doing, but
it's one of the things. So I've got Facebook off my phone. Instagram I get on and off. But my argument for like keeping Twitter on my phone is for the show and kind of like trying to be in the know of like
great.
news.
Now I'm the crutch.
Well, and I'm starting to think like, is that even really necessary? And we talked about it with lots of things, but then there's kind of the FOMO feel.
Yes.
Like, well, if I get rid of all this stuff, what am I going to miss? And it never fails whenever I get on there. Like the one bit of information I see that's useful is like I could have seen it in a number of different ways, or I have heard it in a number of different ways. So it's not really even necessary for me to see that through social media.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it depends on the actual. I think it depends on the social media site, and I think it also depends on how you curate the things that you see. Like I barely spend any time on Facebook. However, there is a streamer that I watch a lot of, and he is on Facebook. I can get on Facebook and watch the streamer while simultaneously not looking at anything else that has to do with my Facebook feed or page or anything like that, which I like. Now, when it comes to things like Reddit or Twitter or Instagram, I really don't mess with Instagram. I think it's because I'm not really like a picture taker. So I don't post. I don't think I've ever posted anything on Instagram. I have an Instagram account, just never use it. Twitter,
thing to be careful with that.
My Twitter feed, I would say is curated well, because I really don't see a lot of things that I don't want to see, if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
Like, I
Twitter's
don't see
very
anything
much like
that like angers my soul, which I felt like I was getting from Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, you're getting like everything. Instagram, you can kind of do that. But Twitter is very, very protective of that, because it's like, if you want to go out and see something that's going to make you mad, that's kind of on you. Like, you have to go out and find that. Mm. Instagram, the thing that, so like, I don't know if you've ever done TikTok. Like, I did that like when it kind of jumped out in like 2020. And I spent like an hour just flipping through these 20-second videos, because it's very, very addictive, because it's just like one more.
Because it's little bite-sized things. And so it doesn't feel like a lot, but when you stack, 40, 20-second videos on top of each other, you're like, holy shit, I've been sitting here for 20 minutes.
Yep. And Instagram has kind of a similar thing with Reels, which is like, well, I've got like 5 minutes to burn. I'm going to sit here and do that. And 35, 40 minutes go by and you're like, what the fuck did I just waste my time doing? And it's kind of entertaining, but it's like, there's so much more I can do. And that's part of me too, that's like wanting to get away from that. Is like, well, is there a little bit of an addiction here that I can't quite control?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of just trying to make sure that like, I'm not allowing myself to kind of fall into that addiction. Because
honestly, sitting here listening to this entire conversation we have, I feel like we're just old men at this point. That's what it feels like. I feel like sitting here like doing like I gotta stay off I have to stay off the sugar and not get on the facey spaces and the Insta books.
Well, I feel like, there's you spend your time whatever you find valuable. And I think, to me, like when I spend 40 minutes flipping through Reels or Facebook posts, like to me, I don't feel like that's like, after that 40 minutes, I don't feel like I'm accomplished. Like I don't feel happy with my decision. It's always more of like, well, shit, I could have done something different. Now, if that's what somebody wants to do, that's totally their life, and do whatever you want. But for me, it's just like, I don't feel like I did what I wanted to do for the day, I guess.
I like having I like having interactions with people. Like I like sitting and talk. I do enjoy talking like to people face to face. I'm not big on like direct messaging people. Like, especially if it's somebody I know. I'll tell you what, like I'm not even really so much a texter. Like I don't really text people either. If I want to talk to somebody, I will call them. The only time I really text anybody is if it's almost like if I need to remind somebody of something, or if I want to talk to somebody, like I usually call. I prefer to call people, and I know that makes me definitely makes me an outlier in this in the age of texting and direct messaging. I like calling people. Like you and I will text every now and again, but a lot of times, like I'll just call you. If I really want, if I want to talk, I'll call you.
Yeah, our texting is really just kind of setting up for our conversation. Yeah, or making sure we can have.
And I've noticed that like I call you more than you call me. You are more. You text me more, but I'll call you more.
Yeah, my texting is more just like in the moments I have, like, oh shoot, I meant to say this to somebody, so I do that real quick. But yeah, like my folks and stuff, like, I'm definitely more of a texter. I think it's just more because it's a quick kind of conversations. It's like letters.
It's one degree. It's 1 degree removed, and so it's almost it's an insulating barrier to where you're not. It's not necessary that you respond in the moment. It's like, honestly, like, you want to talk about like streaming services. Like you were earlier, you were saying how with streaming services that you prefer week to week because you like getting it parsed out to you rather than like having it all like, here's a show, here's all of it, crash through it. In a way, that's kind of the difference between texting and talking to somebody on the phone is you have a conversation with somebody on texting, you like read it when you want, you respond when you want. Like it's conversation on demand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, I don't know. Like me, I have a certain cadence and a rhythm and a flow when it comes to like having a conversation with somebody. And I can't convey that over a text. And so when I feel like I text somebody, I feel like there is inflection and meaning and intent that is lost in typing it out and hitting send.
Yeah, it's really difficult to have like a big, meaningful conversation via text. Like text is more kind of like a telegram. It's like, dun 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 dun, stop. Dun 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 dun, stop. But you can't be like, hey, I'm having this existential crisis and I need to give you my 30 bullet point reasons why I need to do this.
Don't put our messages out there in front of everybody.
One thing would be interesting, like you talk about like being more present and limiting social media. I feel like you'd get eye rolls sometimes, but I wonder if like when my folks and family come up for Thanksgiving up here, doing almost like a phone in the phone in a box type thing. So everybody puts their phones away and try to be like present in the moment.
I'm all for that. And I try and do that myself. But I feel like if I tried to impose that on other people, I don't think that they would like that. I think that telling somebody to put their phone down is akin to saying, hey, could you stop being a piece of shit for 10 minutes?
Well, and I think it's less of like, like when somebody's on the phone, be like, hey, can you get off your phone? But more like, hey, when everybody shows up here, let's all put our phones in this thing. And because I think most of the time, like, I think at first you'd be like, oh, I have self-control. I won't look at my phone. And then 15 minutes into the party, what happens? You're on your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just habit.
Exactly.
So I wonder if something like that, like you wouldn't like.
A lot of times on the weekends, I make a habit of just turning my phone off and I don't answer. And I know that probably drives you crazy because I know there are times where like you've texted me and I don't answer you for like a day and a half.
No, it doesn't bother me. Like if I wasn't on call for work, that's what I would probably do. Or I'd probably put like my phone in a do not disturb where like only like family members could contact me. But in my old house, I used to like get home, put my phone on the fireplace, like away from me, like keep it off my persons. And that's something I definitely like want to try to work on this year for sure.
Yeah. And the thing is that I'll turn my phone off on the weekend and it's not like I do anything like, super like I need to not be focused on my phone. Like I'll fucking sit and bullshit around on my computer and like play a game or I'll sit and, like watch TV or stuff. But it's not having this little tiny screen next to me, it does have an impact. And I know it probably, it's like, I'm sure it stresses people out because there's times where like I go out, like I'll go out to dinner or I'll go out and do stuff and I just don't bring my phone with me. And people look at me like I'm from fucking Mars.
Well, it's like you talked about with like the reels and stuff like that. Like it's, you may only look at it 5 times in an hour, But if each one of those 5 times is 2 minutes, well, that's 10 minutes in your hour you just ate up looking at a screen. And what did you look at? I don't know. Like, maybe it was worthwhile, but you don't know that for sure.
No, you don't remember.
Yeah. But no, I like those back to back. Let's see. So
you're up next, sir.
Yep. So for my third round pick, this is something I've worked really hard on since we moved into our new house, and I want to keep doing it. When I was younger, I always thought it was kind of silly. But there was somebody that said something about like doing this each morning is just a good way to kind of set the tone for the day. And I've kind of enjoyed doing it. I'd want to jerk off every single morning. No. For my third round pick, I want to make sure that I make the bed each morning.
Okay.
So
that has never been a thing that has concerned me in the slightest.
I've always it's one of those things like when you get in bed, like you're going to mess up the sheets. When I lived by myself, I didn't really toss the sheets around too much. So there really wasn't like a lot of messiness. But since we moved to this house, each morning I just try to throw everything off the bed that doesn't belong, make the bed, and then I pile like the clothes I'm going to wear when I get home. And it's a small thing. Like it literally takes like a minute or two to do. Yeah. But it just kind of sets the tone for the day. It's one small success, like one successful thing I did, got the bed made, got stuff put together. It's not like if I don't make the bed, like my day's not going to be any different than if I make my bed. But it just kind of sets the tone to be like, hey, I did this one small task. I got it knocked out. And when you get home, it's all ready to go for you to climb in that evening. I'm not going to beat myself up over the head if I don't get it, but it's just something I think to kind of help make sure that I kind of, have a little attainable goal each morning and am successful for it. It's really just a good way to kind of set yourself up for success.
Yeah. I guess, I guess it comes down to for me personally, I guess I never really thought of it in the context of doing something and feeling a sense of accomplishment. Like if I make the bed at any given point in the day, whether it's, early in the morning or right before I get in it or in the mid after, or, oh my God, people are coming over. You hurry and make the bed. It's never really given me a sense of accomplishment. I guess the only time I really think to do it is if I have people showing up, and that's just because you don't want to look a mess.
Yeah, well, I've always kind of thought of it it's like, why make the bed? You're just going to mess it up that evening anyway. And it like I said, it's not really it doesn't really do anything specific for your day, right? It's like I said, if you make the bed or don't make the bed, the outcome of your day is going to be the same.
But I get what you're saying. It's just something. It's something that you resolve. It could be anything. Make the bed, or or I don't know. Picking picking out what you're going to wear the next day, the night before.
Yeah.
Just just like something where you're okay, this is a task that that you are going to do, and you've resolved to do it, and then you do it. It's not really so much the task of in and of itself. It's the fact that you've resolved to do something, and then you accomplished it.
Yeah. And it's not something you're going to wear as a badge of honor all day, like the I made my bed badge. But, subconsciously, it's, just one checkbox off of your, daily
I did make the bed today.
Yeah. So when the boss is yelling at you, or I try to text you,
when you're getting pulled over and there's 3 bodies in your trunk and you get arrested and you're sitting in your prison cell, and you're I did make the bed today, so that's something.
Glass half full. See? Yeah. Best way to look at it. But yeah, my third round pick.
You're walking into the divorce court and you're well,
Your Honor, I did make the bed every morning.
She's leaving me and she's taking the kids. And
it was always messed up when I got home from work. But what do you have for your third round pick?
For my third pick, I see people put this as their list of resolutions, which I think it's an amazing goal, and I wish that I wish that everybody that makes this a resolution, I hope they all attain it. I guess I'm curious, like, how people go about it in terms of like just the logistics of it. But Shawn, I see people that resolve a lot to travel more.
Oh yeah,
and like that, I think that's a super admirable goal. Like I'd love to do it, but I don't know, man. Like just like I said, the logistics of it, and like I feel like is like me, okay, like married, 3 kids, like it's hard to like, because that's something you have to like plan out, you know what I mean?
Well, and like you said, like with like you're wanting to save money, like that's usually going to cost money.
Yeah.
Like I would love, like you said, I would love to travel, to like 4 exotic places a year, but I really don't want to spend 30 grand on vacations a year either.
I mean, honestly, like I would be fine with spending 30 grand on vacations a year, but the like again the like I guess maybe I guess I'm struggling to see like in what context these people are saying they want to travel more. Like, do they want to take more vacations? Because that'd be great, but a lot of people either A, only have a set number of vacation days with their given job, or B, with their given job they have no vacation days. So if they are wanting to leave for like a trip or something like that, like not only are they going to travel and spend money traveling, but they're also going to lose out on money that they would otherwise make by working.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I love the thought of just like waking up one morning and being like, you know what, like there's this place and it's 4 hours. Like there's I'm within I'm within 3 hours of one city and 6 hours of another city. Like, would it be great to wake up one morning and be like, hey, let's just weekend it to, let's weekend it. Let's do a weekend in this big city. It's a 6-hour drive. Like, we'll drive 6 hours and, spend a day and hang out and spend the night somewhere and then drive back. Like, that'd be great. But like being like, I feel like it takes a certain, it takes a certain degree of planning to accomplish that. And I think that by planning it, you lose it takes away from the spontaneity of it, which was from what I would think would be the whole point of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so like where we've moved,
because you're doing it for the experience, right? Like, oh, I'm let like spontaneously be like, hey, let's go on a trip and have just get a cool experience in.
Yeah, well, I would think so. One thing that I've kind of learned from where we moved is I moved to like a medium-sized town, and there's a bunch of little towns around us, but for some reason I had them in my head as being like just podunk towns. Like not like just there wasn't much going on, like 2 gas stations and a stop sign kind of thing.
Right.
But where we moved to, like they have a lot of cool stuff where we live. They have what they call Second Saturdays, which is they have all these craft people out, people selling like local honey, local produce.
Oh, nice.
Local made stuff. Like, and it's like something I never even realized was there. And I think like if I was thinking of like travel more, that would be something I'd like to try to investigate. Is like, hey, there's this little town, 3 to 4 hours away. They've got this thing that goes on every, June, the 3rd weekend of June. They have this thing. It's like, well, let's drive out there and check that out. Pretty inexpensive. Like you get to be home, that day, or you could stay there if they have hotel kind of thing. But you're getting out and seeing kind of more of like your local stuff. Yeah. And that's kind of what I would see as kind of more of a traveling more. But that would be something where like, if you're setting this up as a plan, like you want the spontaneity of it, like it'd be something that, 1 month you would find something like that. And then the other month your wife would find something like that. And then just like a week before it comes up says, hey, this is what we're going to do this Saturday. You're like, I didn't even know this existed. Like the Second Saturday thing. One Saturday, Tiffany was just like, hey, they have this Second Saturday. Let's go. And I got to go do that Saturday. I was like, oh, this is really cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I think, like obviously I don't live in like a major metropolitan area. And so it's it's easy to fall into this rut of like, oh my God, there's fuck all that goes on around me. Like, like there isn't like, there's nothing really to do. There's not really like a cool place to go. And so in your head, like when you think of like being somewhere interesting, the first, like it always ends up being someplace, farther away and larger, and just in terms of like population. And I think you're kind of leading to like what my realization's been recently is like, oh, there are like, it's a town of 8,000 to 12,000 people, but they have some neat stuff that goes on. Mm-hmm. And even if you go and it's like, well, there was like 6 little setups and there's this, but we ate at this local cafe. It wasn't like this earth-shattering, like, Woodstock 99 thing, but it was a fun little adventure, and we got to go on a little road trip and spend time together. I like that. Take stock in the little things. I like that. Yeah. You know what? I thought this was just going to be like I thought it was just going to be us ragging on like Julia Roberts with her like eat, pray, love bullshit. But that actually kind of hits me a little bit. That makes sense. I get that. I'm telling you, I like that idea. This is going to be my my probably monthly cue just to listen back through, because every time I hear anybody talk about these things, it's like, I really need to do that, and then like the next day, I'm like back into the habit I said I need to try to not do. Positive reinforcement. Glug 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 glug. Well, I'll stop drinking soda next New Year's. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. My 4th round pick, Richard, this is something that once we had a kid, I think this really got less and less because, to have time to yourself when you have a kid is a little bit more challenging. And so I think Tiffany and I kind of sacrificed this for more personal time. But what I want to try to do is once a week for Tiffany and I to kind of dedicate the night to ourselves. But even if we don't do that, at least go to bed together. So like right now, and not just meaning sexually. Oh, if it ends in that, that's great. Yeah. But what I would like is, we probably go to bed the same time, maybe once a month, because I'm more of a night owl. She goes to bed early, and it's usually one of those things that like just with the hecticness, like she'll put Jacoby to bed and I'll work out, or vice versa. Yeah. So I'd really like to work pretty hard on being like, hey, okay, what day this week are we going to, sit down and maybe watch a show, or, just be in the same room together, and then go to bed at a specific time. You have to. I feel like it's necessary. I fall victim to this I would say even more so than you, because my wife and we work opposite schedules. She usually works overnights. And so there's usually like 3, 4, for 3 days, 3 nights a week, like I go to bed by myself because she's not here. So, I'm sleeping in the bed alone because she's at work. And then I leave I leave and go to work the next morning, and she's usually like, we usually miss each other by about like 30 minutes. So about 30 minutes after I leave is when she's getting home. But then, so then you say to yourself, well, what about her nights off? Well, nights off, like I still have that in I still have that schedule where, I'm, going to sleep at like between 11 and 12 and waking up at, between 6 and 7, because that's my schedule. Meanwhile, her schedule is the complete opposite. She goes to sleep at like, even on her nights off, like she's up till like 3, 4 in the morning at the earliest, because that's her, that's her schedule. Mm-hmm. So it's I imagine super hard to get those worlds to get like those ships to pass and meet in the night, Well, and even those situations, you've got like you've got like 2 or 3 days a week where those ships could even come together. Mm-hmm. And like
life how it is, stuff comes up. So if like, let's say, you're busy 2 of those nights and you have that third night and you're like, I haven't had any time to myself all week.
Exactly. Let's say I'm podcasting with my friend. And then I get weird, and then I get weird, and I get those looks like passing by in front of the computer, like, motherfucker, are you gonna get off of this soon? Are you gonna stop doing your fun little show?
You've been talking for 2 hours. Like, well, we haven't started the podcast yet. That's happened a few times. I'll walk up there, like after we've talked for like an hour and a half, and I'll go up and get a drink. She's like, "Oh, you guys done?" I'm like,
close.
We actually haven't started yet.
We took a break.
but no, it's her and I have we've tried to find some shows and stuff like that. But I do think just trying to find something we sit down and just kind of be together and then make sure we go to bed together would be really, really good for us. And I don't think I'd want to pick a specific day because I think that's easy to get burnt. But I think just in terms of the routine, like Sunday, you say, all right, well, what night's our night to essentially I've always hated a date night thing because I feel like that's pigeonholing into oh, it's date night. And it feels cliche. But
so it's got to be an event.
Yeah. But instead of making a date night event, making hey, what's just our night? What night are we going to kind of try to spend time together?
We've actually just within the last couple of weeks had this conversation because we do fall in the routine of oh, well, we'll just sit on the couch and watch a show and that's all fine and good, but you just kind of get in that malaise of it where you're sitting there and you're watching a show and you're laughing and but you're not you don't feel like you're really interacting. So I've been trying to come up with in my head, I've been trying to come up with other stuff to do. And so one thought I had is oh, well, maybe we could try, I could find a co-op game that the two of us could sit and chill and mess with together. That'd be kind of rad. Then we could
there's we had talked about there's a book that's questions to ask your partner kind of thing. And we talked about maybe getting something like that. So, and it's not questions which one of my friends would you sleep with? Because, that just ruins your night altogether. Wait, I have to choose one? Hey, where you going? Night's not over yet. We're supposed to go to bed.
Which one of my friends do I sleep with? Don't say Shawn.
Shawn. Did you say John? Yeah, I said John. Oh, thank God.
You told me not to say John, right? So Shawn.
I'm not writing this down. It's okay. I already wrote it down. Wait, what? Oh, this was a stupid idea, Shawn. She's like, which one? She asks you, which one of my friends would you sleep with? And you're like, Shawn. Oh, damn it. I meant Shawn. Oh, fuck. But my 4th round pick is a night with Tiffany and making sure we go to bed together.
No, that's good. That's good. Let's see. Number 4 for me. This is probably a pick that it sounds good, but then I feel like it opens up a whole big nest that you don't know where to begin. And that is, people make resolutions to learn something new, learn a new, maybe a new skill, maybe a hobby, or, but I don't know, do you want to take up, all of a sudden be I want to build ships and bottles? That seems like a lot. It seems like whenever somebody's oh, you should really find yourself a new cool hobby. I'm like what? Because I feel like any sort of hobby requires so much of an investment, there's so many hobbies that require such an initial investment of money and or time that it instantly puts you off.
Yeah, well, I knew a guy and he had a family, but he was pretty big into it seemed like every year he had something new. He made his own boat, out of wood, carved it out,
a full size boat,
a kayak size boat.
Oh, wow.
Took it out on test runs. Like something like this legit took like 6 months at like probably 4 to 6 hours a week kind of thing. Like a lot of time.
Yeah.
And he's gotten into all kinds of different things like that. But yeah, and especially as you get older, I think it's challenging to be like I would love to learn how to play guitar. That's a huge investment of time and money. Not really so much money, but time.
Yes.
And it's one of those things, it's like, how much do I want to learn how to play guitar? Like, do I want to spend 6 hours a week learning it? Not really.
Yeah. Do you want to spend like 6 hours a week sounding like complete and utter dog shit?
Yeah. But would I love to spend 6 or 8 hours learning how to play guitar with my son? Heck yeah. Like, if that's something he was interested in, like, that'd be a fun use of time. But then again, I
just pass these on to my children and then just vicariously enjoy said habit or hobby with them. Like, the boy learns to play guitar, so that way I don't have to learn to play guitar. I could just listen to him play, and I'm like, that's really good. And then I feel it's almost like you feel like you've done it yourself. At least,
Yeah, but
that's what you say to yourself, so that way you don't have to go through the effort of trying to learn it.
Well, I kind of hate how you asked them to make successful podcasts, and all 3 of them had top 10 podcasts. Like, I was like, one, I was like, okay, that's a fluke. But when all 3 of them did it,
yeah, bunch of show offs.
Yeah, I know, right?
Good thing I review bombed them and we killed it in the cradle. Am I right? Am I right? Whew,
learn your place, kids. Yeah, I feel like that's something where you have to find like what's some kind of passion that you have, and then that's what you kind of like. You have to make a plan for that. Like, you're not going to just stumble into learning something new. It's got to be, like I said, like, you're like, I am going to learn guitar, or, oh yeah, I am going to learn a new language. And maybe that's something where you're like, I want to learn like about this historical thing and get some books and read and, create like an essay type of thing.
Well, and it's also something I feel like, an obstacle in and of itself to overcome is figuring out what that thing is, because you have to give yourself time. You have to give yourself time to figure out what you want to spend the time on. Like, when people ask you, like, do you have an unfulfilled passion about, like, let's say playing guitar or playing an instrument? You're like, I mean, maybe. And they're like, well, what instrument? And you're like, I don't know. Like, what instruments are there? Like, you don't have you ever actually thought about, like, if someone said, okay, if you want to learn a new skill, what would that skill be? And you're like, it's going to take you time to figure out even what you want to learn to do.
Oh yeah.
Let alone learning the actual thing.
Well, yeah, because I can tell you like 5 or 10 things that I've been interested in, but then again, you start saying like, okay, well, are you willing to put in because I wouldn't want to, like, guitar is just kind of what I'm going to go back to, but like, I wouldn't want to be like, oh my God, I am going to learn guitar. Go buy one, have one lesson, and then be like, oh, well, I can't do it next week because I got this. Oh, I can't do it next week. I got this. I don't really want to do it because I'd rather play video games. It's a level of
interest that you're going to like actually fulfill a commitment to.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes that. Like, honestly, like if you set up the guitar lessons, you buy the guitar, like that could be the kick in the butt to be like, well, I've already got all this paid for, so I got to go do this, from 7 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's just what I have to do.
Yeah.
Like learning, like jujitsu is another thing. Like there's people who are like, oh my gosh, I've wanted to learn how to do jujitsu my whole life. Well, why haven't you? Well, I just don't want to commit to it. And then you set up your lessons and you start going. And it's like, hey, guess what? I'm doing jujitsu.
I wanted to, but I don't know if I want to do that much. But again, like figuring out, like, at this point, like if somebody asked me like, well, if you could learn a new skill, what would it be? I'm like, I don't know. What skills are there? What can you do? Well, you could build a boat. Can you? You could build a boat? Could I build a boat? I don't know. Can you? No, I don't know how to build a boat. You know what I mean? Like, you actually have to, like, first you have to figure out You have to actually like, it's almost like you have to like force yourself to find out what you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And then gauge whether or not you're interested enough, and then go do it. Like that's like, I get like the thought of learning something new sounds awesome, but even the journey to get there is a journey in and of itself.
Oh yeah, because you might find something not like you might get like a quarter of the way through making your boat, and you're like I don't enjoy this, and it's not a labor of love. It's just a pain in my ass.
Yes.
And then it's not fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that, but yeah, it's you almost want to have like identify what you want to learn as a New Year's resolution.
Yes, there it is. For my New Year's resolution, I would like to figure out what the fuck I like.
So for my 5th round pick, it's kind of short and it's pretty short. I try to do this as is because we try to FaceTime my folks, but I kind of want to make it a point for like weekly to call my mom and dad individually weekly. Even if it's just like, I'll try to, when we FaceTime, it's usually like 5 or 10 minutes. But like trying to just have like a, 5-10 minute conversation each day with, my mom or my dad, and try to do both. Again, it just kind of goes into making sure that, utilizing time.
What are you doing
kinda
this
goes
for?
back.
I feel like you're just doing this. So did my mom talk to you? Is that what happened? Yeah. Did my mom talk to you? And she's like, is this you being like, Richard, you need to call your mom more.
You call your mom more, Richard. She's worried about you. She says, has he picked up the guitar yet and learned how to play? I said, no. She's like, has he wore the wizard outfit? I'm like, no, he gave that up.
She's still mad that I didn't stay with playing the saxophone. That's what this is.
Yeah, she said that she thinks that's the grudge why you haven't called, because she brings it up every time. She's like, it's sitting here, it's in the attic, I can bring it down.
God damn.
No, it's and it all goes into, I mean, like a lot of like my last one too. You just kind of get in the routine of life, and you're like, well, I'll call on every Sunday, and then 6 Sundays go by, and you're like, oh shit, I haven't called them.
Yep. That is exactly how I feel with not only my mother but like all 3 of my sisters. That I'm like, you want to stay in contact more, but then you miss a couple times, and then you feel guilty, and then the guilt keeps you from doing it even longer, and then it just turns into the snake eating its own tail.
Yeah,
you just spiral with it.
We just recently did, and it just kind of happened organically. But we have like a group chat with me, my sister, my mom, and my dad, and it's just been kind of a nice little like spot to chit chat. Like my mom says good morning every morning. We'll send, so instead of it being sweet. Like, yeah, it's worked out well. So instead of me just like talking to my mom,
sweetest lady in the world. I don't understand how. I don't understand. I don't think people are that nice.
Yep.
I don't think that's possible.
I don't know what it is. But yeah, usually every morning she says good morning to everybody, wishes them a good morning, and so it's something like that's been pretty nice. But yeah, I'm hoping with like just kind of keeping in the, and the problem is I think it's just like you said, like sometimes you don't want to call because it's like, well, they're probably busy. I'm probably going to bug them. They're probably in the middle of dinner. But a lot of times too, like especially if you build those routines, like oh, it's 5 o'clock. I bet Shawn's going to call. So that's one other thing I'm going to kind of push for, is trying to call my mom and dad weekly.
Aw, you're so sweet. All right. What do I have for a next pick? I refuse to say lose weight. That is not a pick of mine. I refuse. I'm not doing it.
Wait, have you been talking to my wife? Has she been telling you that you should put that on there for me?
What do you think about the resolution on volunteering? I'll put this on my list. What do you think about the resolution like volunteering? Like not like, I don't know.
I would,
like we've been talking about spending more time with family and friends and doing more for like ourselves and trying to do better for ourselves, but we haven't really talked about trying to
do more for other people. I don't know.
To me, it's
like, I don't know.
It goes to like learning something new. Like I feel like a lot of times people say like, well, I just want to volunteer more. It's like, well, what do you want to volunteer to do? To help what? It's like you kind of need that cause that you're going to volunteer for. Like, you know, are you going to go to an animal shelter? Like, okay, yeah, like animals. So I'm going to go to an animal shelter once a week for 2 hours. Maybe you like, you want to go to like a soup kitchen and help there, or, you know, some after school program. And all that stuff is like great. And I wouldn't say I would love to try to do that. I wish the right opportunity I would find to maybe do it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's just kind of like, I think it ties a little bit into like to learn something new. It's like, okay, well, if you want to volunteer more, you basically have to kind of figure out, okay, well, what volunteering do I want to do, and then go and stick to it.
Okay. If you had your druthers when it came to volunteering, what would you want to do? Is there anything like in particular that you're like, oh yeah, I'd want to do Habitat for Humanity. I'd want to build a house for like, I want to build a house for like somebody. Because I feel like that.
Yeah, but that's not like
I feel like with that, like, not only do I get to, you know, like do something for somebody else in terms of like, you know, like helping build a house, but I feel like I would also possibly learn the skill of, you know, like
carpentry.
Yeah, like carpentry or wiring or like whatever, you know, shit that came with building a house entailed. Like that would be all right.
But that's like a 16-hour weekend type thing. Like that's something like you almost have to devote a ton of time to.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
not saying that's bad.
Right.
But it's like,
a commitment.
And to me too, like that, like, yeah, you are doing like a really big good, but it's very much, I feel like that kind of volunteering is more for like, oh, I feel better about myself. I built this home for somebody, but there's not like a personal connection to it. So to me, like if I was going to volunteer, I would want to do like a big brother type of thing.
You want to stare people in the eyes. You want to fill up a soup bowl and be like, look at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
Look how grateful you are. I want to see it.
Thank you.
I want to see it. I want to see the gratefulness in your eyes.
No, the one thing that like I always, you know, whenever you see somebody like going through trouble, there's something that like, and again, it's super challenging to try to like relate to somebody or try to like help them, because, you know, sometimes people, they may not be in a spot where they want to help, and, you know, you may be not necessarily hurting, but not doing any good for them. Like they're just kind of like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're gonna sit here and like any after like school NBC special, it's like, you're just here for the hours, bro. It's like, I'm here for you, man. But no, I'd want to do something more like on a one-on-one basis kind of thing. Cause I you know, having somebody that like needs some help and really needs like some kind of connection or somebody to, you know, be with in certain situations, I think would be personally, I think, satisfying, but also knowing that like you help somebody. Cause I mean, like you think of like kids and stuff that are going through things, like even sometimes talking to their parents doesn't work out and they just need to talk to somebody else. And I think doing something like that would be really, really fulfilling.
Right on. I still want to build a house.
Oh man,
I want to know how to build a house.
Fun.
That way, you know, if the time arises, then I can build a house. That's how it works, right? You help somebody build a house, and then you know everything, and then you can totally build a house on your own, right?
Yeah, you learn wiring and all that stuff.
Yep.
Or actually, what you do is you just kick them out and you just take the house. You're like, I built this.
Possession's not intense to the law, fucker.
Now I'm voluntarily kicking your ass out. Go.
So yeah, that's yeah. We're at number 6 now, right?
Number 6. Yeah. So my number 6, it's kind of tough picking through my last few ones, but this is one where it's kind of more because of where we moved to, and kind of want to, you know, taking a little bit slower look at life and kind of slowing down. But I want to spend more time on my porch. So I want to have those moments where I'm just kind of sitting and just kind of staring out into the woods or to the sky, or just kind of like
you want to be that creepy guy that like people are driving past and then they look and they're like, what is that dude fucking staring at? And then they roll down the window and they're like, hey, Peter Peeper.
And I'm like,
quit fucking staring at us.
I'm like, get off my lawn. It's a public road, asshole.
Yeah.
No.
Do you know where the Arby's is? And then you're like, yeah, it's back the way you came. Click, click.
But it kind of like moments like when I go hunting and stuff like that, like you're in the middle of the woods, like you're going to be there for 6 hours. You very much just kind of like sit and stare, and time kind of slows down, and really working hard to try to get those moments kind of here, just kind of like looking out and seeing, like, with my son's playing in the front yard or Tiffany's near me, just kind of trying to soak in more of my surroundings in a more like hectic situation.
You want more situational awareness.
Yeah.
Or at least to just like be present in a moment. Just be present.
And I kind of mentioned, I guess. Yeah, and I kind of talked about being present with people, but this would be more of kind of more of my isolated present in the moment, because it's one of those things like it's like you can't see the forest from the trees situation. You get stuck in that mundane. I'm like, oh, hey, that's cool. Look at that. But then when you actually sit there like, oh my gosh, there's this tree. And then there's, this animal. There's, I didn't ever seen that rock before. Oh, I've never seen that there before.
Yeah.
And doing it all.
Why is there a man in my yard? Why is he holding
where'd
that rock?
Mask come from? Yeah. Why is there a body there? Is that blood or ketchup?
Is that my wife? I really haven't been paying attention.
But yeah, my 6th round pick, I'm gonna go spend more time on the porch.
All right, number 6 for me, and this is probably one. This is I could see this on your list, and I would I'd say you probably maybe you have an easier time of it than I do, but for my number 6 pick, I'm going with be more
softer bowel movements.
Whoa!
Wait, what?
What? No, my 6th round pick, be more creative.
Ooh, yes. I've got a few things that they'll probably end up in my and buts, but yeah, so what are you looking at being more creative?
Well, there's stuff I could work on. Like I've got ideas for a D&D campaign I could write. I've got ideas for a Star Wars campaign I could write. I've got, Jesus Christ, Shawn, I could come up with more content for this, very show that we do. Cause I don't know if you know this, but, sometimes I definitely feel like I kind of lack in the, like, what do you want to do for a show? Oh no.
No, you bring a lot of stories to it for sure.
But even if just there was, shit I would want to do on my own, like, I don't know, like come up with, other content ideas, like maybe and start up a fucking YouTube channel and come up with, weird shit, or start streaming and come up with shit. I don't know if any of that necessarily falls within the creative genre, but just,
Oh yeah, it still does.
Basically like an excuse to exercise a different part of your brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a little bit, mine that tied to this was kind of start a project for like short scripts. Okay. Because I think a lot of times I've tried to tackle like feature film scripts or like 12 episode, podcast things. And I kind of want to bring it more into like almost like and a lot of it kind of sparked from our Broloween episode where there's that Let's Not Meet subreddit and there's like the No Sleep subreddit. So almost finding like those things and try to create like short stories or short scripts, and even like maybe like a podcast episode that's like 5 or 10 minutes long. That's something that you could find random people to read.
That's that'd be kind of rad. We shouldn't talk about that. We shouldn't talk about this like right now. We should talk about this when people aren't listening.
Well, ideally, we've already got this.
Nobody's listening.
Richard, where'd you come up with this podcast idea? It's number 1 in the charts. I don't know, Dad. Me either. You're smart. Wait a second. Richard, that was our idea. Was it? Maybe. I don't know.
I need you to read these lines.
But no, and it's the same thing. Like, it's finding the time to do that and setting the time to do it. Like my campaign I was writing, my lunch hour, I've got a solid hour that, it's like I eat and then I've got 15 minutes to do whatever I want. And so I use that time to work on my campaign. And I did a lot of writing in there too, years ago. And so it's just kind of doing that thing where it's like, hey, or even if you're at home, it's like, from 6 to 7, I'm working on this.
Yeah.
And not really forcing yourself, but, setting yourself up. Again, it kind of goes back to one of my making the bed thing. It's setting yourself up for success. It's not leaving it to the whims of whenever you get to it. It's setting your schedule to do it.
So I guess at the end of all this, I guess it seems like the general, you know what? I'll save it for the end. Well, I'll closing thought it. Anyway, moving on. Number 7, sir.
All right. So my 7th round money shot pick. This is something that Tiffany actually heard about, and
pegging.
We tried it, pegging, and I said yes. No. So she had heard about this lady that said like her and her husband try to hug, like, I don't remember the number, if it was 12 or 20 times a day. And essentially the idea is like anytime they walk past each other, they just give each other a little hug. And so I don't know what the number is, but I kind of want to do my best effort to hug Tiffany and my son at least a dozen times a day.
Oh, that's nice. That's just nice.
So
I don't know how else. I don't know what else to say about it. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, and you think about it, you're like, well, that's not that hard to do. Like, just try it.
Yeah.
Like whenever you walk past like your wife to pick something up, and maybe you're just a little grumpy,
and
like she's
in
like,
the face.
Yeah. And like she's taking up a little bit too much room, and you're like, I just want to get this fucking bowl of cereal. But instead, like you just give them a little hug and just kind of like, again, all living in the moment kind of thing.
Yeah.
The kiddo's going to be the hardest one because like he's like a ball of fire and he will punch me in the face.
Why are you being weird? God.
Yeah, your kids are at the rough age where the kids are like, Dad, what's wrong? Who died?
Is it you?
Are you leaving us? Is that what's going on? Yay, 2 Christmases. No, it's not what's happening. But yeah, my 7th round pick is going to be hug my wife and kiddo a dozen times a day.
Mine is a bit more personal. This is actually a resolution that I have made, not necessarily a New Year's resolution, but as a promise I made to myself. I don't know how many years ago, that I promised myself that I would stop smoking by the time I was 40. Ooh. And it is coming up, sir. It is only 5 months away.
This is the one I'm most excited about.
All right, let's not make an event about it. All right. I'm going to celebrate.
We'll take all your cigarettes and throw them in a fire and stand around it.
I will say that I think by like cementing this as a thing, like I said, like I told myself I would do this years ago. I was like, okay, by the time you're 40, like 40 is the cutoff. 40, you're done. Like you had your fun and now it's over. You're gonna if you haven't done it by the time you're 40, like 40 is it. That's it. You're done. You're done after that. No more. And so I feel like by like almost making that like a mantra for myself, I feel like it's going to be a bit easier. I mean, we'll see, obviously. But at this point, I've convinced myself that will happen.
I kind of said it earlier, like the whole when's the best time to start working out tomorrow? You should do it like a month or 2 before your 40th birthday.
I think I've mentioned this to you. I think the last time I mentioned this to you, I think you said the same thing. I mean,
yeah,
maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like by setting myself that hard date, like, and I think it's because I've like made it a hard date and set it so long ago, and then I've constantly been telling myself like that's when it's going to happen. Then, like I said, it feels like I've convinced myself, and so by the time the day actually happens, I think it's gonna be like, okay, that's it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you don't have that option. Like you don't have the option. It's gone now.
Yeah. For me, whenever I've tried stuff like that, sometimes it becomes like, well, that's future me's problem. Future me will figure that out.
Well, that's what I've been saying to myself when it comes to like when I said by 40. That's why it's like, oh, well, it's down there. Yeah. I've got time.
I mean, I said 40 and a half. I mean, what's another 6 months? No, that's
the thing is, as I said, by 40. So, like, when I was, in my early 30s, I'm like, well, that's a ways away. Like, I've got time. Well, but since I've set that hard date, it's like that's when it's over. You know.
Well, I hope like I said, I definitely am excited about that because that's something that have the kids harked on you a lot for that to quit smoking. No. My son has, because he's like, Dad, every time you go out for cigarettes, you never come back.
And you're like, one time. Okay, twice. Yeah. But I came back. You forgot your keys.
I mean, I came back. Well, what'd you have for a few and buts?
There was one that was like start a journal, which...
Oh, I want to do that, but...
Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the whole journaling thing. I think it's like, I mean, I get I think it would be cool to have like consistently do stuff in it and then look back on it. But I just don't think I'd have enough to merit any, like, to me, I feel like it would be a lot of one sentence entries followed by like one 12-page entry. And then like, 31 sentence entries followed by another like 10-page, and you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so like I've been thinking about that because Scott Mosier does the number of day he is alive. So like I don't remember what the number is, but like instead of saying like January 15th, it would be his 8,462nd day of life. So it's how long he's been alive, kind of thing, and he writes about the day, and it's not so much like when I think about it, it's not so much that's for me, although it would kind of be. I think it would be something amazing for like my kids and grandkids. Like in the event that when I'm no longer here, they could go back and be like, oh my gosh, Dad got pegged on this day. What's pegging? And they go and look it up like, oh God.
Oh man.
That dad.
But see, I don't need to journal. You know why, Shawn? Because I have this.
That's true. This has kind of been a live journal.
See, I don't need to write down a dream journal. You're my dream journal.
Did you have any other?
Learn a new language was another one I had.
That's kind of the learn something new thing for me.
I feel like if I manage to break the seal on one of the European languages, like Spanish or French or Italian, I feel like if I could get one, then I feel like I could get the other two. Because those three are very similar. And so I feel like I want to get one, and then it would make learning the other two a way, way easier.
And I don't even really know like what the time frame for something like that is like to be able to like, is that 5 years and then you can start the next one? Is it a year? Is it 10 years?
Yeah.
I just don't know what that kind of window is.
That's all I had.
So I had I've worked out not a lot, but I've worked out consistently, but I want to start working out and actually getting results. Okay. So I've kind of been in a more maintain kind of working out, but I want to kind of try to take it to the next level. Not to be like John Cena, The Rock size, but just kind of see results like I did when I was a little bit younger. Mm-hmm. More time carved out for me. So doing a little bit better to make sure that there's a day or two a week that I kind of have my own time to kind of decompress. Kind of contradicts some of the other things. That's probably why it's an and but. Give myself more positive reinforcements.
That's what you got me for, bud. You little piece of shit.
I know, right? I think I'm probably my worst critic. And
yes,
so
I would agree.
Try to take a little bit more of a positive reinforcement view. Step back from the news a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a tough one because, when you say step back from the news, you don't want to become ignorant to everything that's going on. But I think in our world today, you can kind of get inundated on everything that's going on out there. And some things can be seen as more serious than they are or vice versa. So it's definitely a tough line to walk, but it's something that's why it kind of fell into my butts. I don't think I had a really good thing for it.
Yeah.
And then my last one, just kind of working on becoming more spiritual and trying to figure out what spiritual means to me. Again, kind of in the butt, so I don't have an answer.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I had for some butts.
I like it.
I thought these turned out pretty well, but let me recap these. So for my first round pick, I had stopped drinking soda and energy drinks. Pick number 2, work on being more present with people. Pick number 3, make the bed each morning. Pick number 4, go to bed with Tiffany at least once a night and have a night dedicated to us. 5th round pick, call my mom and dad weekly. 6th round pick, spend more time on the porch. And 7th round, hug my wife and kiddo a dozen times a day. And for Richard on his first round pick, save more, spend less. Second round pick, limit social media. 3rd round pick, travel more. 4th round pick, learn something new. 5th round pick, volunteering. 6th round pick, be more creative. And 7th round money shot pick, stop smoking at 40. This turned out a lot. This was a lot longer than I thought it would.
A lot, yeah. I'm actually really surprised. I feel like everybody's gonna stop at the 45-minute mark. They're gonna be like, "All right, we get it.
Yeah, you guys are horrible people. We get it.
You want to be better, but you're probably gonna fail. We understand." God.
Well, as we are tidying up this 63rd draft, Richard, what do you have for some Richard's closing thoughts?
I think that the overall, if there's anybody that, listened to the first 10, 20 minutes and then skip to the end, I think if I was to tie this up in a bow, I would say that ultimately the lesson is to understand that your time and your attention are both precious resources and that you should utilize and use them in ways that make you happy and don't waste them on things that don't.
Very well said. I think that kind of tidies everything up really well.
Yeah.
But all right, well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping as we get ready to ring in the new year. Visit our website, we're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at bros@languageofbromance.com. And we always like to thank the 2 best guest invites to our New Year's Eve party, Wendy and Aaron.
You guys are the bestest. We resolved to give you hugs.
Oh, not a dozen a day, though, because I don't know if they'd be like, listen, 1 a year is 1 enough.
Yeah, true. And be like, all right. You're crowding me.
All right. Was there anything else before I close her out?
If you start this podcast at 10:41, give or take a minute or two, then we should be able to close it right at midnight.
Oh, they missed that one too.
No, 10:20. Yeah, like 10:20. We'll say 10:20.
I love it. All right. Well, that's all the Bromance have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And remember, don't be a why.
Be a why not. For all acquaintance. No, we got a kiss. It's finally happening.
Oh, God. Are you throwing up, Richard? No. Wait. Are you throwing up because you drank too much?
No, I didn't say anything about not drinking. Ha ha ha.